Do you agree that we all grieve different? I slept with 4 guys in 1 week. Yep. This was around the time when I was grieving my marriage, though. I was grieving my marriage and I was going through serious depression this one time. This was actually about a year to a year and a half after I had gotten divorced, and I did the filing for the divorce. Yes. I had sex with 4 men.
Of course you did the filing, and of course you did have sex with 4 different men.
All in 1 week.
And of course you have a nose ring. That's almost like the tattoo, the scar, the scarlet letter.
If you want to hear the story, you gotta comment so I can pull apart the story one by one. I do want to talk about them, and I want to talk about what I learned from each situation and why I ended each situation. If you like this kind of content, you know what to do.
All right, listen. All of these women are basically selling themselves, and they basically hoard themselves out. And so now what they want you to do is to be able to subscribe so that you'll pay for the content so they can tell you their horror stories. Imagine being a person and you have an ex like this that you actually had a relationship with, that you loved them, that you gave them your last name, and they are willing to come on these applications and basically tell you how they grieved their way into penis. That's basically what they're trying to convince us of. They don't want to say that they was just whores and they wanted to be out in the streets. They don't want to say that they was looking for a little young YN in order to bust it down for a real one. They don't want to say that they was trying to figure out if it was greener on the other side and it's not really greener on the other side. They're not going to do none of that. What they're basically doing nowadays is they're trying to build a following, specifically or preferably on Instagram and TikTok. They're trying to build a following of people that would allow for them to be able to monetize on a platform so they can tell their hotels. That's all it is. Aside from the fact, and let's break this down a little bit, like the honest to God truth is that it wasn't really that far fetched of a theory that she was going to be the one that filed for divorce, right? And think about this for a second, bro. Like, you got 4 different guys in 1 week, which means that she's probably been busting it down like crazy. Now, if this is your ex, are you embarrassed because you actually had to put all of this work in and you went through the process of marrying her and there's some other guys that just got it for nothing, just got it for free, and now she's talking about it online? Because I think the most diabolical thing about these situations is that these women are not embarrassed. They're not embarrassed. I came up in the era where you had to think once, think twice, think 3 times. Like you had to really think your way through the possibility of what if. Like, man, if I upload this is going to be on the internet forever. If I go into my internet career and I decide I want to be a content creator or I decide I wanted to vlog, and all of this stuff was innocent. Like, you talking about take your daughter to work day or, exploring a specific city. I look back at some of my old videos from 10 and 11 years ago and I just get cringe at the fact that I just had a gap in between my tooth. You know what I'm saying? This is like, or I get upset at myself for the way that I voted back, when I was on the Democrat plantation. And these women don't even get secondhand embarrassed. Like, I get secondhand embarrassment for them, and they don't even get embarrassed at the stories that they tell. And so to think about the fact that somebody is so bored and they have nothing going on in their life, and I mean absolutely nothing, that they feel compelled to pick up a device, talk into it, rewatch it, and then actually admit that they slept with 4 guys in 1 week, probably multiple different times, 4 guys in 1 week. Never even like, because we're not talking about, making sure that we have a level of discipline so that you're not getting diseases. We're not going to talk about it's a strong possibility that she got something, herpes, HIV, or whatever. She was not using protection because most of them don't. And so they're out here willing to basically throw themselves under a bus and don't no regard for a possible career, probably a baby mama, who knows? Obviously, already got the nose ring, trending towards the septum ring theory. Um, and they just out here. Most employers, I know we did, most, and I do for my companies, but in corporate America, I always made sure that I checked out somebody's social media accounts. I always went through it, even while they were while they were there, interviewing. And if you do a panel interview, and, I would go and look up the person right then and there, and I would ask them a question about, or a couple questions, and I would have more of a conversation about the stuff that they post, and what their thoughts was and stuff, in order to be able to vet them through. And so these women, they just jump out here, and of course I'm always going to link back to the content creator, because it's the right thing to do. You always want to make sure that you give credit where credit is due, so that link will be down in the description. But, black women, white women, it don't matter. They all doing the same thing. Asian women, yes, yes, absolutely. I just recently seen an Asian chick that was talking about, how she lost it. It was just wild. It was just upsetting, and it was wild, because I realized how degenerate the culture is becoming, and it's not because of anything outside of the people that sent it. They promote it, they try to monetize it. They say it's over 1.5, 1.4, 1.5 million women that join OF. And it's the suckers in a sense that continue to want to patronize these people that don't even add no real entertainment or value into your life. And so they just feel like they can just jump on the internet, talk about how many dudes and bust them down, which hole they put it in. And then and here's the worst part, right? Because I just looked at a video of a woman that I had did a reaction video to, and somebody sent it in my email as usual. Thank you guys for continuing to send me the content. And the woman, it was the girl that basically was like, yo, she got with the YN, and went and spent the night at at the house after her husband caught her and all of this stuff, and she had kids and stuff. And this chick, not only, okay, so of course, my reaction to it ultimately led to her pulling the video down, because now they wasn't shamed when they what made the video. But here's the other part. Then they get mad at you for having an opinion or reacting to the idea that they out here in these streets and they making themselves look bad. But like I said, I just got to be honest, and it ain't even necessarily about them. It's about you guys. It's about having an authentic conversation about how it is that we're supposed to conduct ourselves, so that we can get the best results possible. And that's with regard to money, that's with regard to relationships, and that is with regard to life. You want the best possible outcome. And this dingbat woman right here, this fool of a woman right here, that jumps on the internet and talks about the fact that she got bust down by 4 different guys, is despicable. It's disgusting. It's ugly. It's evil. It's nasty. You're nasty. You're nasty. And I don't care if y'all do it because y'all grieving and they making these dumb excuses as to why they out here doing this dumb stuff and making themselves look bad. No, you just a whore. That's really all it is. You're nasty. You're not an example. And I hope you feel good about yourself. And you should go and get a full testing, a full panel, and make sure they test for the antibodies and all of that stuff, so that we can know whether, and come back and tell us what your results are and show the receipts online. That's what I think that women should start doing. Show your receipts of your full panel online. We got women that's out here talking about how they contracted HIV. Just nasty, bro. Just filthy. We was having a conversation on After Hours, and I think Quentin posed a question, Q Diddy, and he said, he thinks that the majority of vagina out here is actually clean. And I absolutely, positively disagree, and this type of story actually confirms it. Let me know what y'all think inside of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first. Or I kept her up here just so y'all can sear this crazy, nasty thing. And to think somebody would actually put their Johnson inside of it is crazy. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first order, plus 20% off of life, man. It's horrible.